Good morning from Yami B TV. Wishing you all well today. Sending you loads of love. Following on from yesterday, because I was getting a lot of messages, worried about, concerned, at the way that I did the self-preservation mode in delivering uh, the death and the feelings surrounding the issues with not being able to go to the funeral. I explained to you, or tried to tell you, that I went on the phone and started threatening, sadly, and the authorities as well, because I couldn't come to terms with the fact that, and that's where it's related out of me for how I felt back then. Do you see what I mean? Forgiveness, yes, 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 I totally agree, that someday I'll be able to, forgive the behavior of others surrounding that are in control of that situation. But sometimes it's the rules, and you've just got to accept it. But the bitterness and the coldness surrounding it, because you want to experience the time with the death of your father, and feel what everybody was feeling, no matter how far detached I was in life about, because of the bonding situation, because I hadn't been out and spent a lot of time with family members. But at the same time, it still leaves you bitter, because you're thinking that others get different kind of treatment to you, and as well as saying, "Oh, you're a risk to that, risk to that, risk to that," and you're thinking, "But well, hold on, a risk to what?" You see what I mean? There's many, many, many men, millions of men, thousands of prisoners that are much more, on paper, riskier than me. You see what I mean? So I took it as a dig in the ribs as well. But then also, on careful reflection, there were other factors on the outside, around family issues, and that probably, as well as not just the authorities, that didn't really want me there as well. So it's a mixture of things as well. So I kind of got that as well, but it still left me feeling that they shortchanged me, because I wish now, if I didn't know then, like, I would have had the feeling that I've got now to experience it. But the truth is, I wouldn't have understood it back then, would I? But yeah, following on from yesterday, and this morning as well, very interesting. I'm talking to a couple of my nephews who've got fathers that have died during life sentences, and you get the dreaded news that way as well, about 5 days to live, a week to live, 6 months to live, and they don't get them to get outside for the last part. Some they let out for the last 2 days so that family members can spend with them before they die. So this is another side of the coin we're going to touch on soon, and how does that leave? The families outside as well, that you can't get to see your dad outside just before he dies, and then he's got to die in prison, and you've got to witness that, and the behavior that goes with that. Because when I was in hospital, when I had the injuries and all that, there was many, many days where prisoners were being wheeled in and being told, no, you've only got 3 or 4 days to live, and families are trying to get them out for the last 2 days, but the procedure and everything, very, very, very difficult. But in some ways a bit inhumane as well, because where's the risk? If someone's dying and they can't move off the table or whatever, why not let them out for the last passage? Especially if they've done 15, 16, 20 years already. Well, I won't mention that. Because of the families and all that, but I was just going to highlight a case there. But then again, we got also, I was thinking about the enemies, like in that life where you fall out with people, whether it's a drug deal gone wrong, a business deal's gone wrong, or somebody's done something gone this way, or we all fall out in the end over that criminal activity and the behaviours that go with it. Because a lot of the time, everyone in that game is kind of a bit greedy as well. You lay on things, you want to get your money back, and then it don't come back, and then you want to come and take it out. Oi, that's doubled now. I want you better make sure you have that on that day. The person can't pay it, and he's got to leg it, and then you're going to go and look for his family. And I saw that a couple of times, one of the extreme cases, like I told you about, where families were wiped out because you can't get the person that really done the hurting of you, but at the same time, the accepting your part in that life, because you wanted to give him that thing so that you could make extras, or in that fake life. We know about it already. But yeah, the old school, we didn't do that. We used to sort them out. So I remember in the old days when a family got hurt over somebody else, the local crime gang or whatever would go and say, "No, that's not allowed. You can't do that." We know it's the moral high ground as well, but at least there was some kind of standards. Now gangs are running up on each other when they're looking for somebody, and they're saying, "Oh, he's associated with him. He's associated with him." A lot of the times, they're even making mistakes. You know, my view is not to even be looking for anyone at all. But sadly, the nearest person to you, when they see him or her or whatever, they'll say that's his thing, that's his mum, that's his cousin. Yeah, we'll make sure we'll draw him out that way. But in the end, very, very cowardice, because that's not where the pain was from you to start with. So you're taking it out like that on the families, and in extreme cases, small cases. But the nitty and gritty of it all is to make sure that life or not, don't take it out on anyone that wasn't to do with anything. I spent my whole life wishing that I'd never made victims out of nothing. Because they wasn't the ones that put me on that path. You see what I mean? And my trailer thought and the way that I was taught how to think. So I feel guilty. In fact, in some ways, I said to you, in a funny kind of way, that I wish I wouldn't have done anything to anyone that never did anything to me. You see what I mean? Because it was occupational hazard, the adrenaline, you're not taking all them the factors into consideration, Yami. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that I wish that I would have done some the terrible things that I did in life to the people that, deserved it, kind of thing, for the way that one's life can be started and whatnot. But there's many, many, many of me and you around the world that had to suffer the same fate, with people taking advantage of their positions in whatever way or the way you've been taught, and to make you have a bad start in life. But for me, it's the past. I accept it all now, and I'm just happy to tell you that, yeah, every day I wake up now feeling so much happier. Big up to a lot of you. Coming up very shortly with something else. I think I've forgotten something like I normally have. But yeah, thank you. Sending loads of love. Have a blessed day, all right?